A nation divided, Trump's latest moves spark outrage and hope. The country stands at a pivotal moment, with emotions running high on both sides of the political spectrum. As the news breaks, households across America are buzzing with intense discussions, reflecting the deep divisions that have come to define this era. The Trump administration has dropped a bombshell. In a series of unexpected announcements, the administration has unveiled a range of sweeping policy changes and controversial appointments. These moves have sent shockwaves through the political landscape, leaving many to wonder about the future direction of the country. A series of sweeping policy changes and controversial appointments have left America reeling. The streets are filled with protesters, their voices echoing the sentiments of a nation in turmoil. Meanwhile, in the halls of power, politicians engage in fierce debates, each side passionately defending their vision for America's future. From the halls of Congress to kitchen tables across the country, the debate rages. Families find themselves divided, with heated arguments becoming a common occurrence. The impact of these political decisions is felt not just in the corridors of power, but in the everyday lives of ordinary Americans. Is this a bold new vision for America, or a dangerous lurch backwards? The nation stands at a crossroads, with each path representing a vastly different future. Supporters of the administration see these moves as necessary steps to reclaim America's greatness, while critics warn of the potential dangers that lie ahead. Supporters cheer Trump's decisive action. They believe that these bold moves are exactly what the country needs to get back on track. At rallies and gatherings, they express their unwavering support, convinced that Trump is the leader who can steer America towards a brighter future. They applaud his commitment to undoing what they see as the disastrous policies of the Biden era. For them, this is a moment of redemption, a chance to correct what they perceive as the mistakes of the previous administration. Their enthusiasm is palpable, as they rally behind a leader they believe in. They believe Trump is the only one who can restore America's greatness. In their eyes, he is a figure of strength and determination, capable of overcoming any obstacle. Their faith in his leadership is unwavering, and they are ready to follow him wherever he leads. But critics are sounding the alarm. They see these moves as a dangerous overreach, a threat to the very foundations of democracy. At town hall meetings and protests, they voice their concerns, warning of the potential consequences of unchecked power. They see a president drunk on power, trampling on democratic norms and putting his own interests above those of the nation. For these critics, the recent actions of the administration are a clear sign of a leader who is willing to sacrifice the principles of democracy for personal gain. They fear for the future of the country they love. The sense of uncertainty and fear is palpable as they worry about what the future holds. The stakes have never been higher, and the nation watches with bated breath as events unfold. One thing is certain: America is at a crossroads. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks will shape the future of the nation for generations to come. The path forward is unclear, and the choices made now will have lasting consequences. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks will have profound consequences for generations to come. As the nation grapples with these pivotal moments, the eyes of the world are on America, watching to see which path it will choose. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the choices made now will define the legacy of this era. Faces of controversy. New cabinet appointments ignite fierce debate, sparking intense discussions across the nation. The faces paraded before the cameras this week tell a story that is as much about the individuals appointed as it is about the administration making these choices. A story of Trump's unwavering commitment to his base and his willingness to defy conventional wisdom. His supporters see these appointments as a bold move, a testament to his promise to shake up the establishment. Pete Hegseth, a familiar face from Fox News, now holds the reins at the Pentagon. Hegseth's appointment has been met with both applause and skepticism. Supporters praise his patriotic fervor and media presence, while critics question his military and foreign policy credentials. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a vocal vaccine skeptic, is tasked with safeguarding the nation's health. His appointment has reignited the debate over vaccine safety and public health policy. While some hail his appointment as a victory for medical freedom, others fear it could undermine public trust in health institutions. These appointments have sent shockwaves through Washington. The political landscape is more polarized than ever, with each side digging in deeper. Critics point to Hegseth's lack of foreign policy experience and Kennedy's fringe views on science. They argue that these choices reflect a dangerous trend of prioritizing loyalty over expertise. They see these appointments as further evidence of Trump's disregard for expertise and his penchant for surrounding himself with yes men. But Trump remains defiant, standing by his choices and dismissing the criticism. He dismisses the criticism as fake news and insists that he has assembled a team of the best and brightest. Trump argues that his appointees bring a fresh perspective and are unafraid to challenge the status quo. Only time will tell whether these controversial figures will rise to the challenge or lead the nation further down a path of division and dysfunction. The stakes are high, and the nation watches with bated breath as these new appointees step into their roles, ready or not. Policy earthquake. Trump takes a wrecking ball to Biden's legacy. In a series of rapid and sweeping moves, the former president has set out to dismantle key aspects of Biden's policies, leaving a trail of controversy and debate in his wake. The speed and scope of the policy reversals have been breathtaking. From immigration to healthcare and environmental regulations to foreign policy, no area has been left untouched. The Trump administration officials have been working tirelessly, holding meetings and strategizing to ensure these changes are implemented swiftly. With the stroke of a pen, Trump has undone years of work by the Biden administration. The executive orders have come fast and furious, each one reversing a significant policy of the previous administration. Biden officials are left scrambling, looking concerned and unsure of how to respond to this onslaught. Environmental regulations have been gutted. Protections that took years to put in place have been rolled back in a matter of days. Industrial pollution is on the rise, deforestation is accelerating, and oil drilling has been given the green light in previously protected areas. Environmentalists are sounding the alarm, warning of long-term damage. The door to asylum seekers has been slammed shut. Policies that once offered a glimmer of hope to those fleeing violence and persecution have been reversed. The border wall construction has resumed, and asylum seekers are being turned away in droves. Human rights organizations are decrying these actions as inhumane and unjust. The Affordable Care Act is once again on life support. Efforts to dismantle the healthcare law have intensified, leaving millions uncertain about their coverage. Trump supporters, however, are elated. They see this as a victory, a step towards reducing government intervention in healthcare. They see these moves as a fulfillment of campaign promises, a return to a time when America was great. The rallies are filled with chants of, "Make America Great Again," and the atmosphere is charged with enthusiasm and hope for a return to what they believe were better days. They believe that these changes will unleash the power of the free market and restore American dominance on the world stage. But opponents are horrified. They argue that the rollback of regulations will lead to corporate greed running rampant, environmental degradation, and a widening gap between the rich and the poor. They argue that these policies will devastate the environment, harm the most vulnerable among us, and erode America's standing in the world. Environmental protests are growing, and international news segments are filled with criticism of the new policies. The world watches as America grapples with these profound changes. They accuse Trump of sacrificing the long-term well-being of the country for short-term political gain. The political debate is fierce, with concerned citizens and protesters voicing their opposition. The nation is deeply divided and the future remains uncertain as these dramatic policy shifts continue to unfold. The economy on steroids, Trump's gamble on tax cuts and deregulation. Trump's economic policies are a high-stakes gamble. He's betting that massive tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy will unleash an economic boom that will trickle down to all Americans. He's slashing regulations with reckless abandon, arguing that this will free businesses to create jobs and boost the economy. The stock market is soaring. Unemployment is at record lows. On the surface, Trump's policies seem to be working, but critics warn that this economic sugar high is built on a foundation of sand. They point to the ballooning deficit and the growing gap between the rich and the poor. They warn that Trump's policies are creating an economy that works for the few at the expense of the many. They fear that the bill for this economic recklessness will come due sooner rather than later. Section 5. Shadows of Doubt, Transparency and Accountability Under Fire. The Trump administration has been shrouded in secrecy and scandal from the start. The president's refusal to release his tax returns, his constant attacks on the media, and his administration's unprecedented levels of secrecy have fueled a climate of distrust and suspicion. Trump's critics see a pattern of behavior designed to shield the president and his allies from scrutiny. They point to the revolving door between the Trump administration and corporate interests as evidence that this is an administration more interested in enriching itself than in serving the public good. The administration dismisses these concerns as partisan witch hunts, but the drip of scandals and investigations continues to erode public trust in the government. The question remains, what is Trump hiding, and at what cost to American democracy? Section 6. Scandal and controversy. The ghosts haunting Trump's second term. The scandals keep coming. From the Russia investigation to the Ukraine impeachment inquiry to the ongoing probes into Trump's business dealings, the president seems perpetually engulfed in controversy. Each new revelation chips away at his credibility and further divides the nation. Trump's supporters dismiss these scandals as fake news and deep state conspiracies. They remain convinced that he is the victim of a relentless witch hunt by his political enemies. But even some of Trump's most ardent defenders are starting to question whether where there's smoke, there's fire. Section 7. Democracy. At a crossroads, the stakes have never been higher. The Trump presidency has been a stress test for American democracy. From his attacks on the free press to his attempts to undermine the legitimacy of the electoral process, Trump has shown a blatant disregard for the norms and institutions that underpin American democracy. His critics argue that Trump's actions are pushing the country towards authoritarianism. They point to his admiration for strongmen like Vladimir Putin and his willingness to use the powers of his office for personal gain as evidence of his authoritarian tendencies. The stakes have never been higher. The future of American democracy may very well depend on the outcome of the next election. Section 8. A call to action. Citizens must rise to defend American values. This is a time for vigilance, a time for courage, a time for action. American democracy is under threat, and it is up to each and every one of us to defend it. We cannot afford to be complacent. We cannot allow fear and division to paralyze us. We must speak out against injustice wherever we see it. We must hold our elected officials accountable. We must vote in every election as if our democracy depends on it, because it does. We must be the guardians of the values that this country was founded on: liberty, equality, and justice for all. Section 9. The future uncertain. Navigating the uncharted waters of Trump's America. The path ahead is uncertain. America is sailing into uncharted waters. The outcome of this journey is far from certain, but one thing is clear: we cannot afford to stand idly by. We must remain engaged, informed, and active in our communities. We must resist the forces of division and hate. We must never give up hope that we can build a more just and equitable society for all. The fate of America hangs in the balance. The time for action is now.